So what do you do when your Mac starts to run out of storage space and you don't want to delete any of the things that you have on your Mac? That's a problem that I'm always running into. Even though I have the M1 Max MacBook Pro with 4 terabytes, I use this for a lot of media production. I'm always editing a lot of photos and video, and I need to have some of that stored locally. So it's often that I need to figure out ways to clear up space without getting rid of files that I need to have access to, at least for the time being. When you're looking at your storage levels on your Mac and you see that you're running out of space like I am, it's really time to start looking at what I can clear up and then also what I can move around to regain some of that storage space. Laptops like these you can't increase the amount of storage inside the computer. So you have to do your best to try and manage the storage that you have available. So in this video, we're going to look at 5 different ways that you can regain some storage on your Mac, and we're going to start by trying to identify what some of the issues are at hand. Now, when we're in the system settings, so we go into system settings, you could just do a search for storage and click on storage, and it's going to show you everything that you have here, and then a breakdown of where your storage is being utilized. Now, this doesn't show you exactly where those big files are that you might be able to clear up, but we can see that I have, 243 gigs of applications. It kind of shows me a breakdown of different systems and services on the Mac that are utilizing space, but it doesn't really give me that big of a breakdown. I've got 3.25 terabytes that's just classified as documents. We have the option to store in iCloud, but store in iCloud is not a solution for most people. The most storage that you can buy in iCloud is 2 terabytes. All that's going to be able to do is store some of the things in iCloud that might be using up some space. So if you have a lot of photos in your photo library, if you have big files in your documents or something like that, or a bunch of stuff on your desktop, you might be able to store some of that in iCloud and not have to store it locally on your computer. But I need more than 2 terabytes of space because I have a 4 terabyte laptop, and I also want to use my iCloud storage to back up my iPhone and my iPad. So I can't back up my computer to iCloud because iCloud just doesn't provide enough room. Now, I can also optimize storage for Apple TV if I had a lot of movies and stuff, and then I can automatically empty trash, which I don't have turned on because sometimes I want things to sit in trash for a few minutes before I forget about them. So if you are a habitual person who forgets to empty your trash, you can turn this on and it will automatically empty the trash after 30 days. So those are ways within Mac OS to clear up a little bit of space. Now, there's a software called Daisy Disk that you can get in the App Store. You can see that I've got my hard drive connected. If I had other hard drives connected to my computer, I can also scan them. So I'm going to click on scan. What's cool about this application is it gives me a beautiful graph of my entire hard drive, and it shows me where all the big files are. There may be some big files on your system that you just flat out forgot about, or maybe you didn't even notice that they were there. This application is going to allow you to easily find them so that you can clear them out. We're going to look at one other application a little bit further down in this video that does a better job of helping you identify those items, where they're connected to, and see whether or not they're safe to be deleted. So you can see here that my user folder has 3.5 terabytes of storage used, which is a lot. So as we mouse over these rings and even click into these rings, it's going to expand the area and start to show me the folders that have all of that storage being used up. And so you can see this big ring here was my Hill Media Group Dropbox folder. So a lot of this stuff is being stored in Dropbox, which we'll talk about as we get a little bit further into the video. We can see that the Daily Learn folder has a lot of big files in here, and there are different folders underneath that. And so we could start to break down where the problems are. And as I click, let's click on this large piece of pie, and then this one, and then this one. And as we go out here into some of these other rings, we can start to see folders and the actual files that are taking up a lot of space. And so this might help you identify somewhere on your computer where there's some big files that you can get rid of. Perhaps some old email attachments that you downloaded a while ago, or a video that you saved to your computer and just forgot that it was there. This application is going to help you find and identify some of that stuff. That's great, because knowing is half the battle, because it's hard with so many files and folders and locations on a computer to identify where everything is. So let's talk about the first way to expand our storage on a computer. that is to attach more storage to it. Now, I have a stack of small SSD drives here. There's 3 of them here and 4 of them here, and I'm going to be comparing all of these in an upcoming video, so make sure to be subscribed to the channel here, because solid state drives are a fast storage option. They're high speed, they only require 1 cable just to plug into the computer, and their power and everything is with that 1 single cable, so they're great for portability, and they're very fast storage, which means connecting them to your computer and accessing files from them is going to feel no different than if those files were located on your computer. So that's great. I need fast storage because if I'm editing videos or photos across a device that's connected to my computer, I need that storage to be fast. Now, solid state drives are a little bit more expensive, but they're extremely portable and very fast. So all of these I'm going to compare in an upcoming video so that you can figure out which one is the best price, the fastest, and overall best buy, so make sure to check out that video. Another option is to go with an external hard drive. This is a more standard, traditional external hard drive. It has the full-size hard drive inside of it, which means it's the platter-style drive that is spinning, and so this is not something that you typically would take with you places, although it is pretty portable. Most of these are going to require their own power source and then a connection to your computer. So this is something that you might keep at your desk, and they're very well set up so that they can be stored at the desk. Most of them have little rubber feet. They come with a power supply that you plug in and a cable that you plug into your computer. Now, what's great about this type of drive is that you'll get a lot more storage because these drives are much larger. Where a solid state drive typically is going to max out these days at about 4 terabytes. They're going to get really expensive if you find one that's higher than 4 terabytes, and even 4 terabytes is pretty expensive. With a drive like this, you can easily get upwards of 12 terabytes, and some drives are even bigger than that. But without letting the price get away from you, you're probably going to be looking at 12 terabytes or less for a drive like this. So it's a great option if you're only going to need that additional storage at your desk location. Now, another issue with these types of drives is they're not nearly as fast as a solid state drive, where the solid state drives can have transfer rates of 500 megabytes per second read and write and faster. Some of these drives even have over 1,000, and you can get drives that are over 2,000 megabytes read and write now, which is extremely fast. You're going to be tapped out with a drive like this around 100 megabytes read and write if you buy a higher end external drive like this. This particular drive, which is from Seagate, it's several years old, is probably going to have transfer speeds of somewhere between 60 and 80 megabytes per second, which is plenty fast for most storage. If you're using it to store files that you're not accessing all the time, it's probably not going to be an issue. If you're storing documents and stuff on that drive that are not large files, definitely not going to be a problem. But trying to edit 4K video off of a drive like this is probably going to cause a little bit of an issue because the transfer speeds is not fast enough. You need a drive with fast transfer speeds if you're going to be doing things like accessing bigger files and wanting them to load quickly on your computer, which with photo editing and stuff like that, or if you're saving a whole bunch of files out of software to an external drive, you're going to be capped at however fast the transfer speeds are to that drive. And these spinning style hard drives are a lot slower than solid state drives like these. So it's something to consider. The third way to free up space on your computer, which is one of the ways that I utilize every day, is cloud storage. Now, cloud storage is available from companies like Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, and there's a handful of others out there that provide a service where you can store files and everything in the cloud and then access them as you need them. I use Dropbox because I need a lot of external storage, and I don't always want that storage to be at my office and that's it. There's an issue with redundancy, meaning that if I just have everything on a drive like this, this is my point of failure. So if something happens to this drive, it gets damaged, it crashes, all the data is gone because that is my backup. Whereas with cloud storage, all of that data is spread across big server arrays, and your data is going to be much safer in that type of environment than one single point of failure with a drive like this. Even these small solid state drives much easier to lose because you might keep it in your bag and take it with you. And so if everything is backed up on something like that, that's a scary scenario, because if they're sensitive files, you want to make sure that you have a backup. So cloud storage definitely makes that possible. I'm using Dropbox Business because I need a lot more storage. Dropbox Personal has plans with plenty of storage for the average user that you can utilize to offload bigger files and stuff like that off of your computer, but still have easy access to them. One of the things that I really like about Dropbox, and we'll look at in just a second, is how easy it is to sync everything to Dropbox while still being able to see the files in Finder on your Mac. So what we're looking at right now is my Dropbox Business dashboard, which shows my 4 main files here. I can also go into my admin console and see things like how much storage is being used. You can see I'm using 67 terabytes of storage in Dropbox, which is a ton. Divide 67 by 4, and that's how many of these I would need to accomplish this. That would be insane. Even these drives at 12 terabytes a piece, I'd need a multitude of them. But cloud storage makes it easy for me to back everything up and have access to it no matter where I'm at. So whether I'm at my office, I can access everything because it's at Dropbox. If I'm on the road or traveling or something like that, it's just as easy as having an internet connection to have access to all of my files. So that's one of the benefits of something like Dropbox. Now, if we look at a Finder window, you can see this is my Dropbox folder here, and I have these 4 main folders here with all of the files. And you can see this green little check mark that is partially filled out. You can sync all of your files, or you can sync some of your files, or even none of them to your local computer, which means some of them might be stored locally. So you can see that some of these are filled in, meaning that the entire folder is synced locally, and the checkbox that's not filled in shows that some files in that area are synced while others are not. And what's great about that is that when I'm done with a project, so let's go into Daily Learn, YouTube, Tech, Media, 2023. And as we scroll down and maybe look at Surface 9 review, which is a video that I've already completed, I can right click on this and then go to Make Online Only. Dropbox is going to do is make sure that all of those files are synced to Dropbox, and then it's going to remove them from my actual local computer, freeing up space. So that folder probably had 500 gigs of stuff in it, and I just freed up that space without removing it from Finder so that I still remember it's there as I go to that folder and I'm looking for my files for the Surface 9 review. It's going to show up here in Finder, and if I want access to these files, all I have to do is go and right click and go to Make Available Offline, or even just go to the specific file. Maybe I need the actual finished video file. I just go and Make Available Offline, and then Dropbox is going to sync that to my computer so that I have the file available again. This is a great way of saving a ton of storage, utilizing cloud to make sure that you still have access to all of your stuff. And so hopefully if you have decent internet connection, you can sync all of those files relatively quickly. That would be the only challenge, is that if you needed big files and you were on the road and you were connected over a cell phone or something like that, that it would be a little bit of a slower transfer. But for me, having access to all of those files and being able to see them here in Finder is a huge plus for me, and it saves me a ton of time. So Dropbox is a great option for that. Of course, Google Drive also is a great option, as is OneDrive. They all work in a very similar fashion. You download the software on your computer, it creates a folder that is then your sync folder. You can create folders underneath that. You could put files in them and all that good stuff, and all of that stuff is going to sync across multiple devices. That's another benefit, is that if I go somewhere with my iPad or my iPhone or another Mac or a Windows PC or pretty much any other device, I can log into Dropbox and have access to all of my files. And that's one of the benefits of utilizing a service like Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive, whichever one's going to work best for you. The reason that I use Dropbox is because Dropbox has options for a lot more storage, and I found that the Dropbox application is just a better overall experience on my computer than Google Drive and OneDrive. So number 4 is utilizing network attached storage. Now, network attached storage, or NAS, is a series of hard drives like this that are built into some sort of a self-controlled unit. And so I have one from Synology that has 6 drives in it. That's about 52 terabytes of storage that I can utilize. And so it's kind of like having a cloud storage of your own that's stored wherever you want it to be. So I have it in my office. That Synology NAS has about 52 usable terabytes of storage space. And so it's like having my own Dropbox that I don't have to pay for every single month. I just had to buy the Synology setup itself and put some drives in it. And then of course it's expandable should I want to add more drives to it. 52 terabytes is a lot of storage. I definitely didn't have to start out with that much. I could have started out with smaller drives and then expanded them as I needed. The Synology NAS is a fantastic product because it does a variety of things more than just be your own cloud storage. And I've made videos about the Synology NAS before, so I'll make sure to link to the Synology NAS. The reason that I'm not utilizing it right now and I'm utilizing Dropbox is simply because Dropbox is better and faster for me when I am outside of my office. I live in Montana and my internet is okay here in Montana. It's not as fast as what I was used to in the past. And so accessing files off of the Synology when I am remote is quite a bit slower. And when I'm trying to back up files from another location to Synology NAS that's at my office, it has to go over the internet and then utilize the internet that I have in my office, which is, like I said, okay, but not the greatest. And so it's a little bit slower than using something like Dropbox. Of course, if I'm only in my office, it's going to be much faster to transfer stuff to that Synology NAS than it is to transfer it over to Dropbox because it doesn't have to utilize the internet. It just has to utilize my local network connection, which is pretty fast. So if I'm only worrying about localized storage and I need a lot of storage, rather than going with a whole bunch of drives like this, a NAS is a fantastic option, and especially the Synology NAS because it does so many different things. And it can be used as a security storage device. There's just so many features that a Synology NAS has. They have them from 2 drive bays, so just 2 drives where you can have, about the same amount of storage as one of these, but have 1 additional drive as a safety backup, all the way to 12 bay units and expansion units. So there's a lot of storage options when it comes to Synology. I've got a couple of the options that I use down in the description below for you to check out. So the 5th way to free up some space on your Mac is to use software like Clean My Mac. I'm going to go ahead and hit scan, and it's going to scan my Mac and it's going to look for opportunities to free up space. And it's also going to check a lot of other things on my Mac just to check the health and well-being of my overall laptop here, which is great. This is a piece of software that's always running in the background. There is a menu bar app right up here that pops out, and it shows me a little bit of information, like how much available space I have, available memory, battery life, CPU load, and all that good stuff. And it shows me something about my internet connection as well. So there's lots of good stuff here that I can utilize on the menu bar app, but I can open up the application, do these different scans, and find out where I can regain more storage on my computer. What's also great about this application is it makes it much easier to uninstall applications on a Mac. Now, on a Windows PC, there's an uninstallation process that goes through and uninstalls software and removes files and stuff from different places. On a Mac, we're probably used to just going into our applications folder and throwing it into the trash, but that leaves behind preferences files and other files that might have been associated with that software, and we definitely want to make sure to remove those as well. So it says that I can save 10.5 gigs. So I'm going to hit review details. It's going to show me system junk that can be cleared, and I can actually show this and see exactly what it's talking about. You can see that Outlook has 1.6 gigs of cache, as well as Microsoft Edge browser and a couple of other browsers. And this cache can be cleared out because these are files that are no longer accessible or needed, and files that it may have downloaded in Outlook that I don't need, that I can re-download again from emails should I need them. So very easy to decide to just go ahead and clear that out. It also shows that I have almost a gig in the trash, 50 megs in email attachments in Spark, which is an application that I use still a little bit, but not that often. So lots of stuff that I can clear out here. I can just run this and it's going to go ahead and ask me to quit applications that are open that it can clear cache out of, or I could ignore that. Sometimes it wants a password, and it's going to go through and remove all of this and clear up some space. So this is kind of step 1, just to see what kind of system stuff you can clear up. So we don't necessarily want to rely on that storage because it can fill back up. If we go over into the uninstaller, we can see that there's applications that we can uninstall. It'll show the names of these applications. We can sort them by size. which is also important. Maybe we just want to delete some of those large applications that we're not using anymore. So we can select the applications and click uninstall, and it will uninstall those. Another good one is large and old files. If we run a scan on large and old files, it's going to show large and old files that we could potentially remove. And so there's a file right here that I know I don't need saved on my computer anymore. So I could select some of these and then go down and hit remove, and it's going to remove those larger files and clear up space. Clean My Mac is a great application for that. I've got a link to it down in the description below, so definitely check that out. That application has saved me tons of storage space over probably at least a decade that I've had this software, and it's always helping my Mac run much better and cleaner, giving me more space and more system resources where I need it most. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope that you learned a few things on just how to manage storage on your Mac. Definitely check out the links in the description to the software, to some of the hardware, and some of the tools that I've talked about in this video, should you think one of them is the best fit for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask down in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. Take care.